Imagine being an invisible nobody. Imagine being gifted and talented that you managed to hustle your way to the top of the hip-hop culture, and then imagine losing everything. Let me tell you the complex story of Dame Dash. Known for his straightforward attitude, business hustle, and willingness to challenge industry norms, Dame played a central role in shaping the culture and business of rap during the 2000s era. He lost his mother when he was 15 and grew up surrounded by the energy of Harlem streets. In the early 1990s, Dame crossed paths with a young Brooklyn rapper named Sean Jay-Z Carter. Along with Kareem Biggs Burke, they co-founded Roc-A-Fella Records in 1994. At the time, Jay-Z struggled to land a major label deal, so Dame pushed for independence and even had a plan how to execute it the right way. Dame knew if they act, talk, and dress like the big players, it would help along the way becoming big players themselves. Under Dame's leadership, Roc-A-Fella quickly built a name. He utilized aggressive promotion strategies, throwing lavish parties, and orchestrating bold marketing campaigns that made Jay-Z a household name. Their debut release, Reasonable Doubt, in 1996 was the beginning of a dynasty. Dame wasn't just Jay-Z's manager. He was the brain behind the early Roc-A-Fella success. His flamboyant personality, high-risk attitude, and refusal to bend to traditional industry politics made Dame sometimes hard to work with, but his attitude was backed up by his success. In June 1997, Roc-A-Fella agreed to a 50-50 partnership and distribution deal with Def Jam Recordings. Roc-A-Fella kept creative control, but used Def Jam's system to get Jay-Z's albums into stores and on the radio. Def Jam owned 50% of Roc-A-Fella, while the other 50% belonged to Jay-Z, Dame, and Biggs. This partnership helped uplift Jay-Z to a mainstream superstar. The early 2000s witnessed Roc-A-Fella dominating the hip-hop scene. Dame helped launch the careers of Jay-Z, Kanye West, Cameron, Beanie Siegel, Memphis Bleek, and others. Dame expanded the label into a lifestyle brand, co-founding Rocawear with Jay-Z, a clothing line that became a cultural phenomenon and earned at its peak over $700 million annually in sales. Dame also branched into film with Roc-A-Fella Films, producing films like Paid in Full, State Property, and Death of a Dynasty. These films gave rock artists acting opportunities and expanded hip-hop's influence in cinema. At this point in time, all these companies were raking in millions, and Dame became increasingly harder to work with.
Why do you listen? Jay's not your artist. It's not for you to call him mean. He's my artist. He's his artist. He's down with Roc-A-Fella.
There were also creative differences with Jay, who wanted to slowly transform into a more of a corporate way management style company, and Dame was having none of that. Dame wanted to keep it authentic and independent. So by the year of 2004, the frictions in the Roc-A-Fella camp were clearly visible. One key difference between Jay and Dame is that Jay knew how to climb the ranks and Dame knew how to create things. So obviously their visions for the company would be entirely different.
You know, I'm his son's godfather. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother. Me and him, we work to this thing happen, and we both realize our dreams together. So we gonna always have that bond. So it's not a beef. It's just that it's just growing. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes growing means growing apart, not in a bad way. You know, we all got things that we want to do. We want to do separately. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. Like, I'm happy for him. You know what I mean? As well as, you know, he's happy for me. It's just that it's just part of life. It's part of growing up.
Dame favored a more independent approach, wanting Roc-A-Fella to have its own sector separate from Def Jam, becoming the only black-owned music enterprise with several branches eventually, while Jay, with the influence of others like Leor Cohen and Steve Stout, seen a different path forward. This philosophical divide widened as Jay became more corporate-minded and Dame stayed more culture-driven. Dame always hated the industry executives, and he was vocal about them exploiting artists, while Jay, on the other hand, seen those executives only as stepping stones in his mission of becoming a billionaire.
I'm very disappointed where Roc-A-Fella went. I'm very disappointed. It's just like the brand is compromised. But sometimes people do things that just are uncharacteristic of what I thought they were. Like the way I hear things, people think I'm the one that makes people say those things. I'm the one that really I'd rather protect that legacy.
Dame's leadership style was bold and confrontational, but it kept Roc-A-Fella at the center of hip-hop culture. Meanwhile, people who worked with him were fed up with his antics. There were claims he was trying to outshine the artists, and that he spent company funds for personal lifestyle under the umbrella of marketing or business expenses. To Dame, it was that same rock lifestyle, the flash and bravado, that helped make Roc-A-Fella a cultural phenomenon. To Jay-Z, it was unprofessional behavior, which only limited their reach with the major players in the industry, which was bad for business. So by the end of 2004, the rift between Jay-Z and Dame was at its height. And another major factor in these tensions was Aaliyah. Jay-Z was dating Aaliyah for a short time and was clearly interested in her, but they broke up, and shortly after she was in a serious relationship with Dame all the way until her tragic passing in 2001. Now Jay's close friend and partner was dating the same woman he had been interested in. It wasn't an outright public beef over Aaliyah, but rumors swirled that Jay-Z resented Dame for taking Aaliyah from him, though Jay never spoke on it publicly. But people close to them said it deepened the cracks between them, as it became harder for them to truly trust each other after that, both personally and professionally. Not long after these internal frictions, Def Jam acquired the operational creative control shares of Roc-A-Fella for $10 million, not to be confused with equity shares. Dame and Biggs were frozen out of power, but they still owned shares in the Roc-A-Fella corporate entity. That's why later in 2023, Dame's shares could still be taken by court order to pay his lawsuit obligations, which we will talk about later. After Def Jam acquired 100% creative control of Roc-A-Fella, which was its subsidiary company now, Jay was offered the president and CEO role at Def Jam, and Dame felt betrayed.
You have to let, I like to say that the inmates running the asylum now, you have to let people infiltrate the system in order to correct it. You have to get in there. People that's outside of the system have to get inside the system in order for it to be better, in order for people not to take advantage of artists, in order for people to care more about the music.
Dame sold his Rocawear 25% stake in 2005 completely for a price around $25 million. 2 years later, Jay-Z sells Rocawear to Iconic's brand group for $204 million. He stays on to oversee marketing, licensing, and brand strategy. But by then, Rocawear was already past its cultural peak. Dame Dash said in interviews he was forced out of both Roc-A-Fella and Rocawear. He claims Jay maneuvered him out, buying his shares at a lower value than what the brand was truly worth, especially since Rocawear was pulling in nearly $700 million annually in retail sales by 2005. So the story goes that Jay-Z allegedly behind the scenes teamed up with Def Jam and pulled the strings that made Roc-A-Fella look a lot less worth than it really was, ensuring Dame and Biggs got a small payout, while Jay got full creative control and a powerful corporate position. And he did a similar thing with Rocawear allegedly. In both cases, Dame says Jay played chess at the expense of his own company's valuations to gain personal leverage, cash out, and move on to bigger, more lucrative ventures. After the split, most of the key artists sided with Jay-Z, while Dame formed the DDMG and tried to rebuild, but it never reached his former glory. Rachel Roy, who was his wife at the time, launched a successful women's fashion brand with the help of Dame after the split of Roc-A-Fella. Leor Cohen said, Dame was tolerated because of Jay-Z. Once he lost that, he was disposable. But Dame never backed down from anybody, and he called out Leor Cohen many times in his interviews.
Leor Cohen invented the 360 deal. He invented rob the artist deal and make you be corporate to get from one level to the next. And then when he gets fired or he retires or whatever happened over there, all of a sudden now he's all independent. But when I was independent, and I was saying that 5 years ago, everybody said I was nuts. He was the main guy telling people, don't listen to Dame. He don't think I was hearing about everything he was telling people. That's why I be getting at him openly. He's a culture robber. Because he don't care nothing about the culture. It's all about the money. Why is it a man that robs our culture can't get no money in his own? That's what I don't understand. And I'm not scared of him. I think he's a joke.
From this point on, Dame's career went downhill. Over a period of time, bad investments, lawsuits, lavish spending, and lost partnerships left Dame almost broke while Jay became a billionaire. Today, at the age of 54, Dame is doing independent films, projects like American New Network, and other smaller entrepreneurship. He speaks about ownership and independence as he did back in the day. One thing about Dame Dash is that he never lost his integrity over the course of his entire career. He never sold out. He speaks today just like he spoke 25 years ago. His difficult personality led to him burning a lot of bridges, but still his influence can't be denied. The public opinion on Dame Dash is kind of split. Some see him as a reckless train wreck who deserves to be where he is, while others recognize Dame as an impactful staple on the culture whose legacy is wrongfully diminished? Tell us your honest opinion about Dame Dash in the comments.